All right, class. Welcome to our deep dive all about DellEMC Avamar.
Yeah, specifically Module 6.
Module 6,
DellEMC Avamar Fundamentals.
DellEMC Avamar Fundamentals.
Yeah.
You gave us, like, an entire training module.
Right.
So we'll try to break it down into the need-to-know info for everybody out there.
Think of it as your cheat sheet for Module 6.
Yeah, like the
We'll cover everything from its origins.
origins, yeah.
How it works.
How it works.
Do its unique architecture.
Unique architecture. And even look at some real-world scenarios where it shines.
Exactly.
So looking at this course is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Like, this is a step-by-step
Yes.
kind of journey, starting with, like,
The essentials.
the essentials, like
Yeah.
backup and archive copies, then different kinds of deduplication.
Yeah.
Then it kind of dives into specific products like PowerProtect DD
Yes.
and Networker. And that ultimately leads us to Avamar.
Correct. And with Module 6, the aim really is to equip learners with that solid understanding of Avamar.
You know, where did it come from? What it does, how it's structured, and how it protects your data in various scenarios.
Very cool. And it looks like we've got 5 whole lessons in this module.
Yes, we do.
And even a group activity.
With instructor feedback. So don't worry, you're not alone in this.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
We're here to support you all the way.
That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so Lesson 1, Avamar Origin and Justification.
Right. So this lesson kind of takes us back to the early 2000s,
Yep.
where, you know, businesses were facing this massive data explosion.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can imagine just tons of data spreading across networks faster than ever before.
Right. And everybody had to deal with those SLAs,
Yes.
which were very strict, demanding minimal data loss and like lightning fast recovery times.
Exactly.
Like we're talking like low RPO and RTO values, if you remember those terms.
Absolutely.
It was kind of a nightmare for data protection.
Right. And you know what else adds to this whole situation?
What's that?
High operational expenses and limited budgets. Oh, no, it's like they're being squeezed from all sides.
Exactly. It was like a data protection headache with a financial strain.
So how did they manage?
Well, that's where Avamar swoops in to save the day.
Avamar.
Avamar.
Like a superhero.
Right, like a superhero for your data. It's a pre-built, scalable, disk-based solution
Yeah.
designed to tackle these exact challenges. And what sets it apart is its patented, global, source-based deduplication technology.
Okay, so deduplication, I know it's important, but can you remind me what exactly it is?
Sure. So imagine you have, multiple copies of the same file scattered across your network, taking up all that valuable storage space.
Yeah, makes sense.
Deduplication is like a cleanup crew that eliminates those redundant copies, keeping only one unique version.
So instead of backing up everything every time,
Yes.
Avamar just backs up what's actually changed.
Precisely. That's how it helps achieve those super tight RPO and RTO values.
So when you say global source-based...
Right. That means that the deduplication happens right at the source.
Well-
So your servers, your laptops, minimizing the amount of data that needs to be transferred across the network.
So that makes daily full backups possible.
Even over regular networks?
But even over regular networks.
Yes.
No need for a dedicated backup network.
No need.
That's a pretty big deal.
It is a big deal. It's a game changer.
Yeah. I can see why Avamar is so popular.
But let's dig a little deeper into how this deduplication magic actually works.
Okay, yeah. Because that's important to understand, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so lesson 2, functions and features. Let's break it down.
Okay, so at its core, Avamar handles, all those essential data protection functions. We're talking backup initialization, restore transmission, encryption, retention, and replication.
Wow, that's a lot of...
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, can we break those down just a little bit more?
Sure.
I want to make sure everyone in class is following along.
Of course. So let's start with the most obvious one, backup.
Okay.
This is basically creating that point-in-time copy of your data, like your safety net in case something goes wrong.
Makes sense.
Then you have initialization, which is like the very first backup you run, setting the baseline for Avamar to track changes.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's restore,
Restore, yeah.
which allows you to bring back, those precious files, directories, or even entire systems from your backups.
Okay, so those are kind of like the essentials
Right, the essentials.
that we'd expect from any good backup solution.
Exactly.
What about the others?
Okay, so transmission encryption adds that extra layer of security.
Okay.
It encrypts your data as it's being transferred across the network, making it much harder for prying eyes to see what's being backed up.
So it's like putting your data in a secret gap.
Exactly, a secret code for your data.
Okay, cool. And what about retention?
Retention determines how long your backups are kept.
Okay.
You can set policies to keep them for days, weeks, months, or even years.
So retention is important, especially when we're thinking about compliance and long-term archiving.
It is absolutely essential.
Okay, and then what was the last one? Replication.
Replication, think of it as a backup for your backup.
A backup for your backup. Okay.
It creates copies of your Avamar server data on another Avamar server,
Got it.
either locally or at a remote site.
So if something happens to your main data center,
You've got a replica ready to go.
oh, wow, that's peace of mind.
Exactly. And the best part,
That's that.
it's also deduplicated.
Oh, so you're not sending tons of data across the network.
No, much more efficient and faster.
I'm seeing pattern here. Avamar is all about efficiency,
Efficiency is key.
but we're not done yet. What about those standout features that make Avamar so special?
Right. So apart from its powerful deduplication, Avamar boasts systematic fault tolerance to ensure data integrity, relies on reliable disk storage for your backups, and of course works seamlessly over those existing LAN/WAN networks.
Yeah, the daily full backup over regular networks still blows my mind.
It is a remarkable feat of engineering.
It is. It really is.
Right.
Okay. So what else?
Well, it has a scalable server architecture.
Scalable means.
You can easily add more storage nodes as your data needs grow.
So it's not just for small businesses.
No, not at all.
Even large enterprises can benefit.
Absolutely. It can handle massive data sets with ease.
And you have flexible deployment options too, right?
You got it. Virtual, single node, multi-node, or even integration with PowerProtect DP.
Okay, so it's like custom tailored data protection.
Precisely tailored to your specific needs.
Speaking of different deployments, can you explain those a bit more?
Sure.
I think some folks out there are still wrapping their heads around the different ways Avamar can be set up.
Right. So Avamar can be deployed as a physical appliance,
Okay.
which is known as the Avamar Data Store,
Avamar Data Store.
or as a virtual machine, which is the Avamar Virtual Edition, or AVE for short.
So Avamar Data Store is like a dedicated purpose-built server,
Yes.
while AVE is more flexible, running on top of your existing virtual infrastructure.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay. And AVE is supported on a variety of platforms too, right?
Right. Platforms like VMware, Hyper-V, Azure, even OpenStack KVM.
So if you're running a virtual environment,
AVE can probably sit right in.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It seems like Avamar is designed to be pretty adaptable,
Adaptability is one of its strengths, for sure.
no matter what kind of environment you're working with.
Exactly.
And on top of that, it supports a huge range of operating systems and applications, right?
Oh, absolutely. Windows, Linux, Unix, you name it.
It can handle databases too, right?
Databases as well. Microsoft, SQL, Oracle Exchange, even virtualization platforms like VMware.
It's like Avamar speaks the language of data,
It does. It speaks the language of data,
no matter where it comes from.
no matter where it comes from.
And I bet that centralized management feature
Yes.
makes life a whole lot easier for IT admins.
You bet imagine being able to control multiple Avamar servers from a single interface.
Oh, wow.
You can track backup status, monitor storage usage, generate reports.
Like a central command center.
It is a central command center for your data protection.
No more jumping between consoles and systems.
Nope.
Yeah.
Everything you need in one place.
Okay, that's a major time saver. And speaking of time,
Yes.
I think we need to move on to lesson 3.
Lesson 3.
High-level architecture.
All right. Time to peek under the hood.
Time to see how Avamar actually works.
Let's get a little technical, but I promise I'll keep it simple.
Okay.
Before we dive in, let's just define a few key terms.
Okay.
We'll be talking about objects,
Objects.
which are those variable-sized chunks of data that Avamar creates after deduplication.
So an object is like a unique piece of data that Avamar has identified.
And stored, yes.
Okay.
And then we have stripes.
Stripes.
These are units of disk space where these objects are stored. Think of them as containers for your data objects.
Objects and stripes. Got it. What else?
We'll also be talking about nodes.
Nodes.
A node is essentially an individual computer
Okay.
running the Avamar server software.
So in a typical Avamar setup, you might have multiple nodes
Multiple nodes working together.
working together.
Exactly, and a group of nodes working together on a high-speed network. It's called a server or sometimes a grid.
Got it.
And when you put all the servers and clients together,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we call an Avamar system.
Okay, so node servers and systems. Now let's talk about the actual components of an Avamar system.
Okay.
What are the key players here?
You've got the Avamar server itself,
Okay.
which acts as the brains of the operation, managing all the data protection tasks.
Okay.
Then you have the clients,
Clients,
which are the systems being backed up.
right?
Those could be servers, laptops, virtual machines, you name it.
And the clients communicate with the server
Yes.
to send their data for backup.
You got it.
Okay.
Then you have the Avamar Administrator,
Avamar Administrator.
which is the interface you use to manage the entire system.
Right.
And optionally, you can add a utility node
Utility node.
to provide extra storage capacity if needed.
So the Avamar server is like the conductor of an orchestra.
I like that.
The clients are the musicians.
The musician.
The Avamar Administrator is the sheet music.
The sheet music.
And the utility node is like an extra music stand
I love that analogy.
when you need more space.
Perfect.
Now, remember how we talked about Avamar being deployed as either a physical appliance
Right.
or a virtual machine?
Yes.
Let's dive a little deeper into those node types.
Okay.
You mean the Avamar Data Store
Yes,
and Avamar Virtual Edition?
precisely.
Okay.
So the Avamar Data Store, that's the hardware appliance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dedicated physical server
Okay.
that comes pre-installed with the Avamar software
Right.
and all the necessary hardware components.
So it's like ready to go out of the box.
Plug-and-play data protection.
Plug and play, I like it. And AVE.
AVE is the software-only version
Okay.
that you can install on a virtual machine running on a platform of your choice.
So if I wanted to test out Avamar in my own virtual lab environment,
Mm-hmm.
I could just spin up an AVE instance and get started.
Exactly. And because AVE is software-based,
Yep.
it's very flexible.
Okay.
You can choose the capacity size that fits your needs, starting from 0.5 terabyte and going all the way up to 16 terabytes.
Wow. So whether you're just starting out with Avamar
Yeah.
or managing a massive data center,
There's an AVE size that's right for you.
that's awesome.
It is.
And both the Avamar Data Store and AVE run on a 64-bit SLES operating system
That's right.
and support multiple processors.
They do.
But when you're using AVE,
Yes.
you need to make sure your virtual environment
Right.
can handle the I/O performance demands
Exactly.
of Avamar.
You don't want slow storage bottlenecking your backups and restores.
It's like making sure your computer has enough RAM
Yes.
to run that demanding video editing software.
You need the right resources.
You don't want things to lag.
Exactly.
All right, are you ready for the really technical part?
Bring it on.
Let's talk about Avamar processes and how data is actually stored.
All right. So remember those data objects we talked about?
I do.
When a client initiates a backup, the Avamar client software on that machine scans the data,
Okay.
breaks it down into variable-sized chunks. Mm-hmm.
And calculates a unique hash for each chunk.
A hash.
A hash.
Okay.
Think of it like a fingerprint for each piece of data.
So Avamar is fingerprinting my data
It is fingerprinting your data
to see what's unique.
to see what's unique and what's already been backed up.
Okay, cool. And it does this quickly because of its hierarchical storage structure.
That's right. It's like a massive library
Right?
with a super organized cataloging system.
Right.
Avamar uses a combination of hashes and pointers to organize all those data objects.
So it's not just about saving storage space.
You know,
It's about making sure you can recover your data quickly when you need it.
exactly when you need it.
And Avamar doesn't need a separate file-level catalog.
Nope. It uses those hashes to find everything.
It's like a built-in search engine for your backups.
It is a built-in search engine for your backups.
I'm starting to see why Avamar is considered such a powerful and efficient solution.
It's a data detective, sniffing out duplicates and storing only what's essential.
Exactly.
Any questions so far? I think everyone is still absorbing all this information.
Okay.
Maybe we should move on to lesson 4,
Lesson 4,
data protection scenarios.
data protection scenarios. Let's see how Avamar tackles different types of data in the real world.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so let's start with distributed enterprises.
Okay.
Imagine a company with offices spread across the globe,
Yeah.
all needing data protection. This is where Avamar really shines.
But wouldn't that create a massive amount of data to back up?
It would, but that's where Avamar's deduplication intelligence comes in.
Deduplication intelligence.
It's smart enough to adapt its deduplication techniques
Oh, wow.
based on the type of data it's backing up.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Not at all. It's tailored to the specific data type.
Okay.
For example, for FOIL servers,
Mhm.
Avamar uses a combination of file-level and variable-size block-level deduplication.
Okay.
This means it can quickly identify changed files
Hmm.
and then deduplicate at the block level, further reducing the amount of data that needs to be backed up.
So Avamar is all about finding the most efficient way to protect your data,
Efficiency is the name of the game,
no matter what form it takes.
no matter what form it takes.
What about databases?
For databases, Avamar uses fixed-size block-level deduplication.
Okay.
based on the database transaction size.
Right.
So even small changes within a database are captured and deduplicated effectively.
And for virtualization backups.
For virtualization backups, Avamar goes back to variable size block-level deduplication.
Okay, so it really depends on the specific scenario.
It does.
But what about something a bit more relatable to us?
Okay.
Like backing up our personal desktops and laptops.
Great question. Avamar has a dedicated desktop-laptop solution
Oh, cool.
that ensures that even individual users can benefit from its powerful deduplication and data protection features.
So no matter if you're a large enterprise or a single user,
Avamar has got you covered.
Avamar's got you covered.
No more losing those important files and photos.
That's reassuring. And what about long-term archiving?
Avamar allows you to export your data to tape
Oh, what?
for long-term archiving or off-site storage.
So it's like a complete data protection package.
It is a complete package.
Avamar is like the ultimate data guardian,
It is the ultimate guardian.
protecting everything from servers to laptops.
Exactly.
Okay, I think it's time to move on to Lesson 5,
Lesson 5.
Avamar Systems Overview.
Let's take a closer look.
I'm ready to dive into the specifics of the Avamar Data Store and Avamar Virtual Edition.
All right, let's start with the Avamar Data Store. Remember this is that purpose-built hardware appliance specifically designed for data protection.
Right.
It comes with all the hardware and software pre-installed and integrated, making it a truly turnkey solution.
Turnkey solution sounds easy.
Easy to deploy, easy to manage.
What are some of its key features?
Well, the Avamar Data Store offers high performance and scalability.
Okay.
You can configure multiple nodes to meet your specific needs.
Right.
It also includes features like RAID, redundant array of independent disks for data protection within the Avamar system itself.
So Avamar is protecting your backups,
Yes,
but it's also protecting itself.
it's protecting itself as well.
That's pretty cool.
And it uses a technology called RAIN,
Rain?
redundant array of independent nodes, to further enhance data availability and resilience.
Like a backup for your backups.
Exactly, a backup for your backup system.
And of course, it supports replication for disaster recovery,
Of course.
ensuring that even if one Avamar data store fails...
You have a replica ready to take over.
Okay, so the Avamar data store is a pretty robust solution.
It is a robust solution.
But what about the Avamar Virtual Edition? What are some of its key advantages?
Well, AVE offers incredible flexibility because it's software-based.
Okay.
You can deploy it on a variety of virtual platforms, as we discussed earlier. And you have control over things like storage allocation and resource management within your virtual environment.
So if I'm comfortable managing virtual machines, I can easily set up and manage AVE myself.
Exactly. And remember, AVE comes in a range of licensed capacity sizes.
Oh, right.
So you can choose the one that fits your needs and your budget.
You don't have to overspend on capacity you don't need.
Not at all. Start small and scale as you grow.
That's great. AVE seems like a great option for organizations that are already using virtualization.
It is a perfect fit for virtualized environments.
And AVE is customer installable, right?
That's right. You get the software, you install it on your virtual machine, and you're good to go.
Okay, what about storage?
With AVE, data domain, storage is optional.
Okay.
You can certainly use your existing storage.
Right.
But integrating with PowerProtect DD, formerly known as data domain,
PowerProtect DD.
can significantly enhance your data protection capabilities.
I remember that from previous deep dives.
Yes,
It's DellEMC's powerhouse for deduplication and long-term data retention.
that's right.
So integrating Avamar with PowerProtect DD.
It creates a comprehensive data protection solution with even more deduplication power and advanced features.
It's like combining the best of both worlds.
It is the best of both worlds.
Avamar's flexible backup and recovery capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
with PowerProtect DD's robust storage and data management features.
Exactly, a powerful combination.
Okay, that brings us to the end of Lesson 5
That's right.
and the end of Part 1 of our deep dive.
Part 1 done.
Any questions from the class?
Let's take a break and we'll be back with more Avamar goodness in Part 2.
See you soon. Hashtag TTS The Deep Dive Episode 2025-0125, Part 2 of 3.
Welcome back, everyone. It seems like we've had a chance to absorb all that Avamar goodness from Part 1.
I feel like we've crammed like a whole semester of Avamar knowledge into our brains.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind tour of Avamar fundamentals, but remember, this is just the foundation.
Right.
There's a whole universe of Avamar knowledge out there waiting to be explored.
So what's next on our Avamar syllabus? We've gone through all 5 lessons of Module 6.
Right.
But I feel like there's still so much more to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now that we have a good grasp of the fundamentals,
Yeah.
let's shift gears and talk about how those concepts translate into real-world benefits for businesses.
Okay.
Let's see Avamar in action.
I'm ready for a field trip.
Well,
Let's see this deduplication magic play out in a practical setting.
okay, so imagine a company struggling with ever-increasing storage costs for their backups.
Oh, yeah.
They're running out of space, their backups are taking forever, and their IT budget is stretched thin. This is a pretty common scenario.
It's like trying to fit an elephant into a shoebox.
Exactly. Something's got to give, and that's where Avamar steps in with its superpowered deduplication.
Deduplication.
By eliminating all those redundant copies of data, Avamar can dramatically shrink the amount of storage space required for backups.
So instead of buying more and more storage,
Mm-hmm.
companies can use Avamar to make their existing storage work harder.
Exactly. It's a huge win, especially with data growing exponentially, like we discussed earlier.
Right.
Avamar helps companies control those storage costs and avoid those unnecessary hardware investments.
It's like Marie Kondoing your data center.
A perfect analogy.
Keeping only what sparks joy, or in this case, what's essential for recovery.
I love it. And it's not just about cost savings. Think about the impact on backup and recovery times.
Oh, yeah. Less data to transfer means faster backups, right?
Precisely. No more waiting all night for those full backups to finish.
So companies can back up more frequently without impacting their network performance.
Exactly. A huge advantage, especially for businesses that can't afford any downtime.
And it's not just backups that are faster.
Right.
Avamar's hierarchical storage structure and efficient indexing also allow for rapid data retrieval.
Yes. When you need to restore something, it's like finding a needle in a well-organized haystack, not a chaotic mess.
No one wants to be scrambling for lost data during a disaster. Speaking of disasters, how does Avamar handle those? We talked about replication, but can you give us a real-world example?
Sure. Imagine a company with their primary data center in a hurricane-prone region.
Okay.
They've got their mission-critical applications and data stored there, but they need a way to protect themselves in case of a natural disaster. This is where replication comes into play. They can set up a secondary Avamar server at a remote location, maybe in a different state, and replicate their backups to that secondary server.
So if a hurricane hits their primary data center,
They've got a backup copy of their data safely stored elsewhere.
it's like a data lifeboat.
Exactly, a data lifeboat. And the beauty of Avamar's replication is that it's also deduplicated.
Right.
So they're not sending massive amounts of data across the wire, which would take forever and potentially strain their network bandwidth.
I'm starting to see why Avamar is considered such a comprehensive data protection solution. It's not just about backups. It's about business continuity.
Exactly, business continuity and resilience.
And Avamar is also designed for ease of management, right?
Absolutely, which is a huge bonus for busy IT teams.
Speaking of busy IT teams, I bet they appreciate any tool that can make their lives easier. Tell me more about how Avamar simplifies management.
Well, imagine having a single interface where you can see the status of all your backups, monitor storage usage across multiple Avamar servers, generate reports for auditing purposes, and even configure alerts if something goes wrong.
Wow.
That's what Avamar's centralized management tools provide.
So no more jumping between different consoles and systems.
Nope. Everything you need in one place. It's like a data protection command center.
Okay, so we've talked about the real-world benefits of Avamar's deduplication,
Right.
its impact on storage costs, back in recovery times, and its ability to streamline management for busy IT teams. What else is there to explore?
Well, remember how we briefly touched on Avamar's integration with Data Domain, now known as PowerProtect DDD?
Oh, yes, the dynamic duo of data protection.
Exactly. Let's dive a bit deeper into that.
Okay.
Think of Avamar as the front line of defense capturing and deduplicating your backups.
Oh.
While PowerProtect DD acts as the fortified vault, storing those deduplicated backups securely and efficiently.
So Avamar does the initial heavy lifting, and then PowerProtect DD takes over for long-term storage and protection.
That's a good way to put it. Avamar can send its deduplicated backups to PowerProtect DD, taking advantage of its advanced deduplication capabilities, massive storage capacity, and a whole suite of data management features.
This is starting to sound like a data protection dream team.
It is a dream team. What kind of advanced features are we talking about?
Well, I vaguely remember something about data immutability.
You're right. Data immutability is a critical feature in today's world, especially with the rise of ransomware attacks.
Right.
It essentially means that once data is written to PowerProtect DD, it cannot be modified or deleted even by malicious actors.
So even if hackers manage to breach your network and encrypt your primary data,
Your backups on PowerProtect DD are still safe and sound.
it's like having an unbreakable lock on your backup.
Exactly, an unbreakable lock. And PowerProtect DD also offers features like high availability configurations, ensuring that your data is always accessible even if there's a hardware failure.
And I seem to remember you mentioning something about cloud integration.
You've got a good memory. PowerProtect DD can seamlessly integrate with various cloud storage providers, allowing you to extend your data protection strategy beyond your physical data center.
So you could have your primary data on-premises, your Avamar backups, on PowerProtect DD, and then replicate those backups to the cloud.
That's exactly right. It's like having a multi-layered data protection shield.
Okay, I'm seeing a clear theme here. Avamar is all about flexibility and choice.
You got it.
You can deploy it on-premises, virtually integrate it with other DellEMC solutions like PowerProtect DD, and even extend to the cloud.
Avamar isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a platform that can be tailored to your specific needs and integrated seamlessly into your existing infrastructure.
It's like a data protection chameleon,
I love that analogy.
adapting to whatever environment it finds itself in.
And that flexibility extends to the different ways you can use Avamar to solve real-world business challenges. It's not just about backing up data, it's about using that data to your advantage.
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. What are some examples of how Avamar can be used to address specific business challenges?
Let's take the example of a company that relies heavily on virtual machines for their critical applications.
Okay.
They need a way to protect those virtual machines and ensure they can be quickly recovered in case of a failure. Avamar can seamlessly integrate with their virtualization platform, providing agentless backups of their virtual machines.
Agentless meaning they don't need to install any software on each individual virtual machine.
That's exactly right. Avamar can back up the virtual machines directly from the hypervisor, the software that manages the virtual environment.
Okay.
This simplifies management and reduces overhead.
So it's like taking a snapshot of your entire virtual environment without having to install anything on each virtual machine.
Exactly, and remember, Avamar deduplicates at the source, meaning that only unique data blocks are backed up, making the process incredibly efficient.
So even if they have hundreds of virtual machines, Avamar can handle it.
Exactly. Now let's consider a business with strict regulatory compliance requirements.
Okay.
They need to make sure their data is protected at all times, and they need to be able to prove it to auditors.
Data privacy and security are top of mind for many organizations these days.
Absolutely. Avamar offers features like encryption in transit and at rest, ensuring that your data is protected at all times, both during backup and while it's stored on the Avamar server.
So it's like putting your data in a virtual safe.
Exactly. No unauthorized access allowed. And for those who need long-term data retention for archiving or compliance purposes, Avamar's integration with PowerProtect DD provides a robust and secure solution. Remember that data immutability feature we talked about?
I do.
That's particularly relevant here.
So even if someone accidentally or maliciously tries to delete data from the Avamar server or PowerProtect DD, it's protected.
That's right. It's an essential layer of protection in today's threat landscape, where data breaches and ransomware attacks are becoming increasingly common.
Okay, this is all starting to make sense, but we've covered so much information in this part of our deep dive.
We have.
Can we take a moment to recap before we move on?
Sure, we've explored the real-world benefits of Avamar's deduplication, its impact on storage costs, backup and recovery times, and its ability to streamline management for busy IT teams.
And we've delved into the powerful synergy between Avamar and PowerProtect DD, highlighting those advanced features like data immutability, high availability, and cloud integration.
And we've seen how Avamar can be used to address specific business challenges, from protecting virtual machines to ensuring regulatory compliance.
It's amazing how Avamar can adapt to different environments and scenarios, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of his capabilities.
You're right, there's so much more to explore, but we're running out of time for today.
Okay, so where do we go from here? What's the next step for someone who wants to learn more about Avamar and apply these concepts in their own environment? Hashtag TTS The Deep Dive, episode 2025-01-25, part 3 of 3.
Welcome back to part 3 of our Avamar Deep Dive.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. We've covered a lot of ground, from the early days of data explosion
Right.
to today's sophisticated data protection solutions. It's really remarkable to see how far we've come.
It really is, and I think the key takeaway from Module 6 is that Avamar isn't just a backup solution.
Right.
It's a strategic tool for businesses
Absolutely.
to achieve their goals.
Yeah.
Whether that's reducing costs, ensuring compliance, or recovering quickly from disasters.
Exactly. It's about thinking beyond just backups and seeing Avamar as a key player in your overall business strategy.
But I think some of us are still wondering how to put all this knowledge into practice.
Hmm.
We've learned about the features, the benefits, the integration options,
Mm-hmm.
but where do we even begin when it comes to creating a data protection strategy with Avamar?
You're right. It can be overwhelming. A good starting point is to assess your current data protection landscape.
Okay.
What are you protecting right now? Where is that data stored? What are your recovery objectives?
It's like taking inventory before grocery shopping.
Exactly. You need to know what you already have and what you need before you start filling up your cart with solutions.
Right.
Once you have a clear picture of your data landscape, you can start exploring how Avamar fits into the puzzle.
Okay.
Do you need to protect physical servers, virtual machines, cloud workloads, or a combination of everything?
And Avamar can handle all those scenarios.
Absolutely. It's like a Swiss Army knife of data protection.
Exactly. And don't forget about those integration options we discussed.
Right.
Do you have existing data domain systems in your environment? Are you looking to leverage cloud storage for offsite backups?
These are all important considerations.
Avamar can integrate with all those solutions, right?
It creates a unified data protection ecosystem.
So instead of having a bunch of separate tools and processes, you can have everything working together.
Exactly, a harmonious data protection orchestra.
Okay.
And as you design your strategy, remember that flexibility is key. Your data protection needs will change over time as your business grows. So choose a solution that can adapt and scale along with you.
And it seems like Avamar's modular design and support for both physical and virtual environments gives you that flexibility.
Absolutely, start small and scale up as needed.
And ease of management is important too, right?
It is. You want a solution that simplifies operations, provides clear visibility into your data protection status, and makes it easy to recover data when you need it.
Those centralized management capabilities we talked about seem like a real game changer.
They are a single pane of glass to manage everything.
Okay, so let's revisit some specific scenarios where Avamar can really shine.
Okay.
We talked about businesses that rely heavily on virtual machines, for example.
Right, virtualization is everywhere these days.
Exactly, and Avamar can seamlessly integrate with those environments, providing agentless backups of virtual machines.
Exactly.
Now, I think some folks are still a bit fuzzy on what agentless means.
Right, so agentless means you don't need to install any software on each individual virtual machine to back it up. Avamar does all the heavy lifting from the hypervisor, the software that manages all your virtual machines.
Got it.
This makes it so much easier to manage backups, especially if you have hundreds of virtual machines.
So you can protect your entire virtual environment without having to install anything on each virtual machine.
That's the beauty of agentless backups.
That is pretty awesome.
And remember, Avamar deduplicates at the source, so only unique data blocks are transferred across the network.
Right, so it's super efficient.
Super efficient even for large virtual environments.
Okay, what about businesses with those strict regulatory compliance requirements?
Those are critical scenarios. Data privacy and security are paramount.
Yeah, data security is a top concern for everyone these days.
Absolutely, and that's where Avamar's security features really shine.
Okay.
It offers encryption both in transit and at rest, ensuring that your data is protected at all times, whether it's being backed up or stored on the Avamar server.
So even if someone managed to gain unauthorized access to the Avamar server, they wouldn't be able to read the data.
Exactly. It's like a virtual vault for your data.
Yeah.
With multiple layers of security. And don't forget about the integration with PowerProtect DD.
Right.
That adds even more security with its data immutability feature.
It's like having an insurance policy for your data.
Exactly. You can always recover even in the worst case scenario.
I like that peace of mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up our Avamar deep dive, I want to remind everyone that technology is only part of the equation.
Right.
Data protection is a holistic process that involves people, processes, and strategies.
Couldn't agree more. Avamar provides the tools, but it's up to each organization to build the framework and make it work for their specific needs.
So it's not just about implementing a solution. It's about understanding your business goals, assessing your risks, and creating a comprehensive data protection plan that aligns with your overall business strategy.
It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the
Yeah.
technical intricacies of Avamar to its real-world applications and strategic implications. We've explored its unique features, its integration capabilities, and its flexible deployment options.
And hopefully we've inspired you to think beyond just backups
Right.
and see how Avamar can be a powerful tool for achieving your business objectives.
So class dismissed, but the learning doesn't stop here.
Right.
We encourage you to explore the resources mentioned in the module experiment with Avamar in your own environment and continue to delve deeper into the world of data protection.
And remember, if you have any questions, our Telegram group is always open for discussion. We're here to help you succeed on your data protection journey.
Thanks for joining us on this Avamar deep dive, and we'll see you next time.